Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Wednesday edition of Inside the 20 with myself and Keith Niebuhr. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. I'm joined, as I always am, Mr. Keith Niebuhr. Keith, how about you on this signing day 2023?
Yeah, it's been such a busy signing day, hasn't it? It's just,
With commitments, not signings.
Yeah, with commitments, not signings. Exactly. Well, we got one signing at least, but yeah, it's everything's good here. Everything's good. Let's get to our ad and we'll get rolling, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, I know everybody's looking for a new car. I got just the man you need to call, Caleb Schofield with Mike Patton Auto in LaGrange, Georgia. Give Caleb a call, 334-531-0996. He's still got those two four-door Broncos in stocks. He's got one Cactus Gray, which Keith loves so much. Another one is black. He's also got a brand new all-electric Ford Lightning F-150. Huge, very rare find. Give Caleb a call. He's also got new Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Hondas. The used cars, big-time selection, and all of them must pass a multi-point inspection. They also come with a free 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty. The new vehicles come with even more warranty, lifetime powertrain warranty, unlimited time, unlimited mileage. And he also pays a finder's fee. You know somebody who needs a car? Send them to Caleb. Caleb will send you $300. Pretty good deal. Give Caleb a call, man, 334-531-0996. Keith, Auburn, big day, signing day. One signing, Jeremiah Cobb, the 4-star running back from Montgomery, who's been committed to Auburn for a long time, decided to wait and sign with his buddies and pals and teammates in February, which not a huge surprise, but officially on board. Pretty much, Keith, as far as we know, the last of the high school guys of the 2023 class.
Yeah, we think.
Top
130 recruit nationally, number 6 running back in the country, 5'10 and a half, 5'11, 185 pounds, super fast for a running back. Running backs aren't going to be your 4.3 guys. They're
right.
Very quick for a running back. He's coming off 3 consecutive 2,000-yard seasons. So he's not only putting that, statistics aren't everything, obviously, your competition and who you play with, there's so many variables, but he's a proven competitor. He's a proven producer, and he's a proven winner. He's played on multiple solid teams at Montgomery Catholic. He's, Auburn, you're losing Tank Bigsby, but the running back room may actually be better next year. So you've got Jarquez Hunter back. He'll probably be the starter. You've got Damari Alston back, showed a lot of promise as a freshman. You've added Brian Battie from USF, who was all-conference and
All-American.
All-American at one point. Kick returner as well. And now you've got Jeremiah Cobb in the fold. So 4 really solid. And obviously they have other guys on the team too. We're not leaving, but these are the main 4. They've got guys coming back as well. So the running back room is in good shape with Cadillac Williams. Now we'll see what they do for the 2024 class, but that's a significant addition. Jeremiah Cobb's a guy that can do a little bit of everything out of the backfield and should fit in perfectly. I think, with Battie maybe returning kicks this year, Jeffrey, maybe this guy's your other guy returning kicks. You know what I mean? And so I think there's a lot of potential for him to get on the field early, mainly in a special teams role. And then, as Jarquez Hunter moves on to the NFL, probably, maybe after next year, not probably, but maybe, that his role should increase. But love the pickup, good, solid in-state guy, which is what we need to see more of if Auburn's going to compete at the higher level. In-state guys. And let me point out, Georgia made a move on him late, Jeffrey, in the fall. And initially, Auburn beat out Clemson. Clemson absolutely, positively wanted this guy in the class. So, again, what do we always say? Forget about the ranking. Who did you beat to get the guy? Well, they beat out Clemson, and then you had Georgia coming on, offering later in the year. So, significant win for Hugh Freeze.
You talked about in-state 4-star. Auburn picked up 2 more in-state 4-star commitments today. 2025 4-star in-state defensive lineman Malik Autry from Opelika. Then you had 4-star cornerback Jaden Lewis from Anniston. That's to go with in the 2024 class. And Lewis goes with another 2024 in-state 4-star in Amon Lane.
Yeah, I'm looking. They're up their profiles now. We're not looking them up, getting them on my screen. And, we'll start with Jaden Lewis, because he's in the current class. And believe it or not, the 2024 class, Jeffrey, is now the current class. I mean,
right.
I can't believe what year it is. But 2024, number 20 cornerback in the country, Jaden Lewis. He's out of Anniston, Alabama. Number 20 corner, number 15 recruit in the state of Alabama. So anybody in your top 20 in Alabama is probably going to be really good. And number 220 nationally. Now he's listed at 5'10", 165. But he says, Keith, I'm actually 6 foot.
He's closer to 6 foot than he is 5'10".
He says he's 6 foot 175. Now, this happens a lot because over a course of a year at this guy's age, 16, 17 years old, that's when we all really grew. So, very good play. This is a guy that the old staff identified, when Zach Etheridge worked for Brian Harsin. They offered him then. Then not long after Hugh Freeze got to Auburn, November 28th, within a few weeks, Auburn had offered him again. So that's a good thing. Both staffs like this guy. That's not just one staff reaching for a guy. That's two staffs saying this is a guy, solid guy. Now,
and you know what? He told me that meant a lot to him to have two different staffs say, we want you. And then the common denominator of both of those two staffs was Zach Etheridge. He said he's been recruiting him for 2 to 3 years now. Big factors in Lewis's decision.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt. And let's point out also, we think Wesley McGriff's coaching the corners, right? So he'd actually be playing for Wesley McGriff. So it stands to reason that Wesley McGriff, who, by the way, is very close with Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze probably isn't signing off on any offer, just unless Wesley McGriff, who's going to be coaching the guy, says, hey, I know Etheridge likes the guy, but I need to like him too. And I do like him. So let's, So I think it's significant that now you have both DB coaches have signed off on this guy. Two guys, Zach Etheridge, a young up-and-comer, Wesley McGriff, a guy that's been around the block, was once a secondary coach for the New Orleans Saints, defensive coordinator at Ole Miss. So they're absolutely on the same page. They're absolutely on the same page with Jaden Lewis. And, who did you beat out? You beat out schools like FSU and Tennessee. But Jeffrey, I don't think there was a number 2 here. I think this guy, I talked to him in early January, like January 2nd, January 3rd, and you could tell then that this guy was trending hard toward Auburn. He visited Auburn this past weekend. They knocked it out of the park. I believe you talked to him, and he was all Auburn then, how much he loved the staff, the facilities, the program, the direction. And then a week earlier, Cole Pinkston, who works with us at Auburn Live, interviewed me. He says, hey, at the time, he didn't know much about Hugh Freeze, but he knew one thing. Guy beat Bama a couple of times. And so he liked that, he said. So you knew that he was a guy that had a little bit of orange and blue Auburn blood going through his veins. And this is a big pickup. Now, like you said, you've got 2 commitments in the 2024 class. They're both defensive backs. And I know everybody says, oh, my God, look at all the defensive backs. When are we going to start getting some other guys? Well, in the SEC these days, you better have some good DBs or you're not going to win games, right? There's some key positions out there: quarterback, O-line, D-line, edge, cornerback. And now you've got Amon Lane as your other DB commit. And he's probably a nickel or a safety. He's a little shorter, but he's a nickel, very fast. May not be a corner coverage guy, maybe a safety. And now you have Jaden Lewis, a true corner, 6 foot, 175 with good length. And he's coming from a winning program. And by the way, Aniston's got a lot of other players there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's significant too. So you're building some inroads at that school. And Amon Lane and Jaden Lewis are good friends. They're excited. They're going to be playing together at Auburn.
One of the things that stood out to me about Jaden Lewis when I talked to him about his commitment, he committed to Hugh Freeze on Saturday at Junior Day. Hugh Freeze was crazy, but the thing that he said that stuck out to what Hugh Freeze said to him was that when a coach comes to a new school, the first 2 classes are absolutely critical in his immediate success and future success, long-term success. And he said getting this 2024 and 2025 classes off to good starts are going to be paramount. Hugh Freeze actually alluded to this Monday. What's the day? He actually alluded to this Tuesday in Mobile down at the Senior Bowl when doing interviews. Those first 2 classes are imperative for success. And Jaden Lewis, you talked about Aniston having more players, but Anquan Fegans, a 2025 4-star, the number 1 safety in the country, according to some folks, and Jaden Lewis grew up together in the Oxford-Aniston area. He's now at Thompson, of course, but Jaden Lewis says, I'm going after him. I want him. It meant a lot to hear Hugh Freeze say, we've got to have these first 2 classes, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it to make both of them great. Not only the 2024 class, but I'm working 2025 as well.
And they're playing, Jeff, they're playing a little catch-up in 2024.
Sure.
2024
behind.
Should be, hey, you've had a whole year to build relationships with guys, but they just arrived 2 months ago. And so they being Hugh Freeze and company, November 28th, I think was the day he was announced as head coach. So he just got to Auburn, and you're already landing a guy like this, who a lot of your good secondary players, Keontae Scott, Jalen Simpson, these guys don't have too many years left in them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you constantly have to, what's happened over the last few years, Jeffrey, is Auburn's had to, and that's why Auburn's so big in the portal right now, had to really kind of scramble to fill some spots, right? And Hugh Freeze and company are trying to eliminate that. They want to put Auburn in, and obviously it's every coach's goal, which just sometimes doesn't happen. You want to be in a position where you're not having to scramble to fill spots. You want to have a good combination of veterans, of young developmental guys, and then guys coming in. So by the time he gets there next year in 2024, there's going to be a need. And he's probably looking at that. Hey, they're going to lose need. Who's still back? Pritchett, Simpson, Keontae Scott. I'm trying to think of all the corners that are still on the team. DJ James. Auburn's got a real need. Now, they just signed a bunch of DBs, but that last class, the 23 class and the 2024 class, are huge DB years for Auburn. When you look at who they're going to be losing. That made any sense?
It did make sense, Keith. Again, and the Malik Autry, the 2025 defensive lineman from Opelika, he was there at Junior Day on Saturday, got re-offered by the staff in the same manner Jaden Lewis did. Both staffs offered Malik Autry. Malik Autry got to know Jeremy Garrett. He got to know Vontrell King-Williams. Both of those guys, he hit it off with them. He left there. I think, he too, like Jaden, basically committed on Saturday. This kid weighed in at 280. He's 6'5", 6'6" with cleats on, 280 pounds. He was listed at an edge when he showed up for Junior Day. I looked at him and said, no, that he's not an edge. And I was even told, no, he's not. Auburn thinks this kid can move inside, even as far as the nose. And even Malik said, hey, I can play nose. I can play defensive tackle. I can even kick it out to edge if you need me to. Play that 5 Kobe Wooden position if you need me to. But 6'5", 280. And, he loves Hugh Freeze. He loves being able to stay close to home. And you talked about Anniston having some players. Opelika's got players. They always do. So another big pickup, another 4-star in-state pickup. Auburn now has 3 commitments total, 2 in the 2024 class, both in-state 4-stars, and then the 2025 in-state 4-star Malik Autry. And, technically, Keith, Malik Autry going public today around noon became the first of the 2025 class. Yeah. But I was trying to think, who was Hugh's first high school commitment? He did
I don't know.
He did. He had some in the 2023 class there at the end. Hank Brown. But anyways, Malik Autry, Jaden Lewis, Amon Lane, all in-state 4-star guys, all committed to Auburn. What a great start to the 2024 and 2025 classes. And we think there's going to be some more on the way. I would imagine so. I don't have anybody, at the top of my list, but I would imagine there's some guys. I tell you what, Keith, Xavier Hamilton, the 4-star linebacker from Navarre, Florida, he really likes Auburn.
I'm struggling with a little post-cold here. Malik Autry, if I get back to him for a second, again, 4-star guy. I think, Jeffrey, you and I were over there all day Saturday, and we were getting rumblings of that this had gone on. And the reaction from you and I talking to sources, I think Auburn, other than like maybe a Keldrick Falk or who they flipped from Florida State, or Kai and Lee, who they flipped from Ohio State. I mean, they were pretty damn excited about Malik Autry. Not to say they weren't about Jaden Lewis, but you talk to different people about different guys. So the guys you and I talked to about Malik Autry, wow, they are – now they're going to have to hold off. By the way, I need to point out some things here. Offers from schools like LSU, Michigan, Georgia. He's a 2025. He's only in the 10th grade. He's already got Michigan down in Opelika, Alabama to offer him. And then, of course, the eye-opening offer is the Georgia offer, because Georgia doesn't have to offer people early. They don't anymore. They've reached that stratosphere, Jeffrey, where they can just offer guys whenever they want. But they saw the ability in Malik Autry and offered him very, very early. But we knew, we both talked to him last summer, and I think it was a Big Cat weekend, and he was all Auburn even then. And huge pickup, defensive line. So what were the best teams of the last decade, 2013 and 2017? Common denominator, good quarterback play, great running backs, Trey Mason and Kerryon Johnson, Jared Stidham, Nick Marshall, one dominant receiver, dominant edge rusher, D Ford, Jeff Holland, but they also had guys in the middle. They had guys in the middle. 2017, of course, I want to say Derek Brown was starting to make some noise. And I can't remember whether Montravius was still on that team or not, but Montravius was on the 2013 as a freshman along with Carl Lawson. So, again, you're not winning in the SEC if you're not winning O-line and D-line recruiting battles. And even though this kid's an Opelika, don't kid yourself. Everybody wants him. You still got to go out and you got to beat those teams. Now, again, they've got to hold on. They've got to continue to recruit him over the next couple of years. But now that's somebody that's an eye-opening offer when he's already got a ranking as a 2025 guy. That's rare. As the rankings get more advanced in his class, and all of a sudden he's in the top 100 or top 200 or whatever, it becomes more of an eye-opening commitment. And other kids, all of a sudden they're not looking down that list, Jeffrey, of the top on 300 group, and they're all of a sudden they're seeing the Auburn logo once in a while where they haven't been seeing it nearly as much anymore. You know what I mean? It started to turn with Kyan Lee, with Keldrick Falk, with Colton Hood, with Jeremiah Cobb, with these types of Duran Reed, who, by the way, we should point out was actually over hanging out at Junior Day this weekend, just getting the vibe, catching the vibe at Auburn, I guess. But Malik Autry is in that mold. He is massive. I mean, this is I'm trying to think of a D lineman that he compares to size-wise. I mean, he's bigger than Derek Brown was at that age, that's for sure.
6'5", 280 being conservative.
You hope he could be another Derek Brown, but he's a giant in there. And it maybe he grows into an offensive lineman. Who knows? But he is a high-level athlete that could probably play on either side of the ball. Obviously, Auburn likes him on the defensive line.
Keith, football wasn't the only sport that got big news today. Todd Pettiford, the number 4 point guard in the country in the 2024 class from New Jersey, of all places, committed to Auburn, committed to Bruce Pearl, became the second commitment in that 2024 class that we expect to be one of the top classes in the country. Todd Pettiford chose Auburn over Kansas, over Kentucky, over UConn.
Who did you beat?
There you go.
What did we say? Who did you beat?
This dude is electric. He can do it all. He is Auburn's point guard of the future. He joins Peyton Marshall, the number 6 center in the country in Auburn's 2024 class. And Friday, Auburn could get another addition to that 2024 class as I think it's the number 6 guard, LeBaron Filan from Baker in Mobile, will announce his decision at 12:30 on Friday. Auburn in the mix there again with a lot of blue bloods. Hat tip to Zach McKinnell.
What is going to happen when Hugh and Bruce have not even locked up yet? They haven't even linked up. How are those big weekends going to go?
I guarantee there'll be a lot more recruits at the next Kentucky home game.
Well, wait a second. If it's in February, that's a dead period.
Was it? It was in January last year.
Okay, so
it was at the end of January last year. And to be fair, now, that was the weekend Auburn was going to have that in-state junior day.
Yeah,
they had coordinators were hired and fired and left and stuff like that. I think, and they were like, "Hey, let's just do a big one next weekend." And then I think about 20 guys came in, a good group, but still nothing like what we saw this past weekend. But yeah, Bruce Pearl and Hugh Freeze, what a almost like puzzle pieces. I mean, their personalities are perfect for one another.
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze is so much personable than Harsin, obviously. And Gus, listen, we loved Gus.
Yeah, absolutely.
You cannot meet Gus Malzahn and not love the guy. You say what you will about his offense and whatever his offensive line recruiting, but he wasn't the most personal, outspoken guy. He wasn't an extrovert by any means. As a matter of fact, he's probably an introvert now. Christy was a big extrovert. She was awesome.
Yeah.
But the personalities as far as Hugh Freeze and Bruce Pearl together will be a lot of fun, I think, to watch, to cover, and to kind of see how these two guys mesh with each other.
Big day at Auburn. I mean, you think you go into national signing and you got all the hay in the barn, and there's not going to be any noise, but couple commitments. I like the strategy, keeping Auburn fans.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Keeping Auburn fans happy. I mean, you could get sometimes it's a little risky planning out when a guy's going to go public, because then they can always change their mind before.
Oh yeah,
and that's happened before. But I like the strategy. Why not? Hey, give the Auburn fans something to chew on, something to digest.
On signing day, you knew it was not going to be a big day. You're going to have Jeremiah Cobb, one guy. Hey, instead of announcing Saturday or Sunday or even Monday, let's wait until Wednesday and have a big day.
One thing about Hugh Freeze is I don't know if he's a guy that's got laser focus on building the program, but also has incredible peripheral vision to want to know what are people saying about Auburn? What are kids thinking? He interacts with the media. Hey, what are you guys hearing? He kind of I don't know what to say, what I'm trying to say here as usual. I'm spinning my words, but I feel like he's in tune with more than just the recruit and the mom and the dad and the coaches he works with.
Yeah, the big picture, man.
I feel like he understands our jobs. I feel like he understands what the Auburn fan is thinking and wanting to know. And I think that's going to serve a guy well. Now, ultimately, it comes down to wins and losses. None of that stuff matters. I've seen a lot of people online, Jeffrey, saying that, that guy that for the Bengals that screwed up that play the other day. Oh, but he's such a good guy. Well, that's great. Did they say that about the airline mechanic that forgets to put in the bolt on the wing? You know what I mean? I mean, you're there to do a job, right? At the end of the day, Hugh Freeze is going to be judged on wins and losses. But we don't have that yet. We don't have any games to judge him on. We only have him on a couple of months. And what we've seen are positive transgressions, right? Is that the right word? Is transgression a good word?
No.
Positive developments, positivity around the program, good vibes. And these are two big pickups for him today. Obviously, Bruce, another big pickup for Bruce, but two significant pickups for Hugh Freeze. And obviously, they had to hold on to Jeremiah Cobb. If Jeremiah Cobb, obviously, keeping Cadillac Williams on the staff was significant. But if Jeremiah Cobb meets Hugh Freeze and doesn't like what he hears, doesn't like the vision, then maybe that just doesn't happen.
Well,
Been
a huge loss, but it wasn't. Auburn signed him, added Jaden Lewis, added Malik Autry today, added Todd Pettiford on the basketball side, could add, and I believe will add LeBaron Filon. I've put in my prediction for him. So what a great week for Auburn, both sports. We will keep it all in tune here at Auburn Live on 3. If you're not a member of that site, please go check us out. Still got a special going on, $30 right now. Actually, it's $29.99. That'll get you through August, not a penny more until September. And we will be back Friday afternoon with a little bit more detail on some of this recruiting news coming out. But we appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody subscribing. For Zach in the back, for Keith, I'm Jeffrey Lee. Man, y'all stay out of that left lane. See ya.